Good afternoon, dear colleagues, dear friends, dear partners, dear members. It's a pleasure to be with you now for the last of the 3 stock-taking sessions, which we have been organizing here with my colleague Fernando in particular. And I'm looking very much forward now to have again a very rich exchange. I would like to remind what happened so far with this stock taking process so that we are all on the same page. We are here meeting the Learning Forum. The Learning Forum of UCLG is a dedicated platform for our members and partners to share the cities and regional experiences on learning methodologies and strategies to build capacity related to international work. For UCLG, the forum is also an opportunity to collectively engage on how we are managing our learning processes. And as a community, this space is for active deliberation and will help us to shape the future direction of learning globally. So we have been preparing 3 stock-taking sessions of the UCLG learning communities for those who are trainers or who are working with training activities with cities and regional governments and their networks and associations. And we are very happy that also we can see in our associations more and more dedication to learning activities and to move also the global agenda forward and the international work forward with learning, training, or sharing or peer reviews. So now it's more than 200 people from different parts of the world representing local and regional governments, their networks, associations, and also international organizations. Who are participating in these sessions, and we discussed peer learning, localizing of global agendas, and today we will discuss e-learning methodologies. So the sessions are thought as a brainstorming activity around those themes, and this is very meaningful for us because we prepare the road to our UCLG Learning Forum that will take place next October in Daejeon, during our UCLG World Congress in Korea, as you've seen in the video now, where we are going to. So if you were not able to attend sessions, you can of course look into our videos we have been sending you. So you can take up everything, but we will also give you an information and try to map a little bit all your initiatives so that you can follow and get prepared and mainly connect between each other. I just recall the 2 first stock-taking sessions we had. The first one was in May 31st, and we were looking on peer learning methodologies and its impact on local public policies. So this was a wonderful opportunity to debate with you, to organize how do you organize, what do you do with your results, how you look for impact. And of course, very, very interesting methodologies. And as you know, we are also ourselves, the learning team has been growing out of these peer learning experiences, and our devotion and our dedication to innovative methodologies is broadly shared. And we found a lot of inspiration by the people attending and telling us their story. Then we had a second session on the localizing of the global agendas. It was in June 21st, almost 2 weeks ago. And as this is, of course, here learning is functional, because in UCLG we have a lot of localizing, and of course, as you all know, and many of you have been using the training of trainers modules, and they have been experiences of the localization of also for other agendas, of other organizations. So this was very enriching to see that actually looking for the same goal, looking for the same achievements and for the same same challenge, how all the pieces of the puzzle find their place in what we call the localizing process. And here, of course, SDG and Sendai are the big agendas we have been working, but we also have learned a lot from your side on climate and on other agendas. And then of course, today we are now in this last of these sessions, and we want to dedicate our attention to e-learning methodologies. So this is one of our fundamental learning streams, but not only, because of course, with the COVID, we all have experienced sometimes by force to go virtually, to do all online, and we have been learning a lot about technologies. We are now almost 2 years using a lot of virtual methodologies. And so we have seen not only the courses that were rolling before already, like the SDG course we are doing now in several editions with the Diputación Barcelona, but also other courses of partners where we have been sharing. So this virtual learning was enforced and is here to stay. And we also developed our own platforms. We will hear from you what you are doing, but don't forget we have Learning with UCLG, which is a platform where we have 1,500 followers, students looking at access to the global agenda and in courses which are mainly self-paced, but of course also moderated. And so we look forward to 2 years to come, where we probably will have to see how we can work better together, what you are doing. Some of you here who were piloting these massive online courses are with us, and we are sure that others who are following this step will learn a lot from you, because so we do not reinvent the wheel every time, but we also know that partners like ICLE, like the Den Haag Academy, we will hear several, are advanced, and they have we have a lot to learn from them. And of course, we have to contribute to each other as methodology, because what we have is a huge demand in local governments to know more, to improve their service delivery, to be more effective in their management. And if we want the global agenda to work, then we need to work it with our local practitioners, which are the main target for us. So I would leave it now in the hands of Fernando to guide you through our e-learning agenda, and then to know more from you, because you are the protagonists today with us. And later on we will come back then with me to our Congress. So our idea is that in all stock-taking sessions, we construct a little piece, what is meaningful for the Congress. The Congress is also not only a big showroom opportunity, it is a decision opportunity, and it is a connection opportunity, which we have to receive. And of course, we are all convinced that learning will play a major role in the global networks and in the associations and in the local governments we represent. Thank you very much, and over to you, Fernando.
Thank you very much, dear Sarah. It's very good to have you all here. I'm very eager to listen to all. For me, it would be very interesting to know better the methodologies on e-learning that you're using. So I will share a little bit here before start asking you about your experiences. I will share a little bit, as Sarah already explained, the agenda for today. Basically, we want in a first part, know better your e-learning activities and how do you structure them. And then in the second part, we will think specifically about the UCLG Learning Forum in Daejeon and how we can align with the Pact for the Future, already thinking about it. So I will very fast in 8 minutes talk about our UCLG e-learning agenda, and then we'll go to a first consultation more broadly with all of you on Mentimeter, and then we'll be back, and then we will have more time, 20 minutes, to discuss with you and having your inputs about the different e-learning methodologies you're using. And then we'll go back with Sarah to discuss the Learning Forum in Daejeon and the next steps. So our e-learning methodologies have developed with time. We started with the basic, right? Doing our learning website with the tools and the modules available for everyone. Then we will pass, try to experience some other tools as the SDGs app after 2016, where we developed an app to be downloadable for everyone, talking about the SDGs. And then with our learning kitchen, we called our YouTube channel that also show some of the classes or the activities we develop, the different dialogues and everything, and the videos that we used to use in our on-site training too. And then our first online platform, we participated with Diputação de Barcelona, a Moodle platform for the course on the localizing of SDGs. I think Olga is here. She can also comment more about the Moodle platform and different online courses. I know that Fanzi also use a lot the Moodle platform for their moderated online courses. And then, as Sarah mentioned, came the COVID, and then we went back to the peer-learning roots, but this time online, right? So it was the live learning experiences on the Beyond the Outbreak sessions about the local public services. And then we, after the COVID, we developed this 17 sessions of peer learning on different local public services. And then we saw that during the pandemics, we had the need for more local capacity building, and also with other virtual and more access to technical and virtual solutions, online solutions too. So that this need led us to try to develop some other and different online tools, learning tools. And from the live learning experiences, we developed the first MOOC that we had on our new platform, the Learning with UCLG. It was a teachable platform, and we, since the beginning, proposed free online courses open to everyone. That's so massive, self-paced, and combining them to other activities. So we started with the Beyond the Outbreak MOOC that explained the live learning experiences process produced with homework that is here. And then from now, from the Beyond the Outbreak, we start to adapt the modules of training of trainers on SDGs through MOOCs too, and then try to combine the MOOCs with different webinars. For instance, this webinar with CIB was one of the first ones, another with Metropolis, and then started to develop online games through Genially and quizzes on the MOOCs. So as this SDGs planning, which allowed us also to think of different live games that could be combined with the MOOCs, and then with the public of the MOOCs, we could do like a second activity, doing the games live with participants of the MOOCs. Also thinking about different kind of activities with Mural, using Mural and Genially too, right? And combining these MOOCs and the different publics with live activities. And then we started to develop MOOC not only from our original materials, but developing different MOOCs from materials that partners were developing. So the local finances MOOC was one of the most important ones, that we started also to develop podcasts and interviews, infographics that the users could be able to download the podcast to hear in their phones or in their computers after. And then we start thinking about and now thinking about the three fields of the Pact for the Future, and we start developing different and in the same time the training of trainers online with Platform, for instance, on decentralized cooperation with the MOOCs. So the MOOCs they were useful also to give like a first idea of the contents of a more broad training of trainers module, and we start combining the use of the MOOCs with online live trainings and with games, live games too. So if we think of the government, we can think of the SDGs localizing options. But if we think of the people, for instance, we can think of another important MOOC that we developed with another important partner, with ILO, with FANSI, with the Commission on Local Economic Development, that also produce new materials from some courses that they already had, and with new videos, new interviews, and now from that we are also developing with other commissions and projects of UCLG, as the human rights MOOC that is being produced, the migration MOOC that is being produced from the peer learning online peer learning migration. We have the MOOC, the activities of culture, and the future MOOC of culture to the accessibility MOOCs that are being produced. If we think of the planet, we developed from the training of trainers modules, the resilience MOOCs, and then the live workshops also about the resilience, using also the generally. So that's a little bit it. We are in the process of developing new materials and trying with all of you, but but this is very important to discuss this on the Learning Forum, because we are seeing that more and more, as Sarah mentioned also, we have more interest people that are doing not only the moderated, but now the self-paced courses, the live activities. So it's very important for us to think and to know better the methodology that you are using, and how we can combine different methodologies to think of common activities and common initiatives. So before starting the discussion, the open debate with you, I would like to pass the floor to Claudia, that is going to moderate a general Mentimeter here. I will also share the Mentimeter address here through chat, and we also share the Menti with you. So Claudia, we are in your hands.
Thank you, Fernando, and thank you, Sarah, for opening this session. So now we will be going to this Mentimeter exercise, so that we see and we learn about what you are doing in terms of e-learning. So please go to menti.com and use this code 89315993. 89315993. We give a few seconds so that everyone joins. Okay, Fernanda, I think you can go to the next slide. So the code is still here for you, for those who haven't been able to connect yet. So first question is, what kind of e-learning activity are you promoting in your organization? So this is a multiple choice question. We have webinars and Zoom meetings, games and dynamics through Mural or Miro, platforms of self-paced courses, what we call MOOCs, moderated online courses, online peer learning, or others. please use the chat if you want to say another activity. Okay, so we see that webinars and Zoom meetings are the e-learning activities, the most popular ones, but also MOOCs and moderated online courses. This is very interesting. No games and dynamics through Miro, for example. Okay. Yeah, webinars and Zoom meetings are the most popular activities and most organized ones. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. So now, what are key lessons or challenges you have confronted when adapting your activities to online methodologies? So we have already a few answers. Combining accessibility with quality content, keep people mobilized and reach out to targeted participants with low IT proficiency. Yeah, this is an important challenge. Time consuming, high dropout rates. That's another important challenge we face ourselves. Connectivity, language diversity, internet capacity, geography. Takes a lot more capacity than expected. Needs technical input too. True. It seems like doing an online Zoom meeting is something easy, but it is not. The organization, all the planning behind is really important. Network problems, lack of in-person interaction, true. Resistance from political leadership. Time of student attention is shorter. Hesitation in interaction amongst participants, true. We see that there are a lot of challenges here. So no one's proposing a lesson learned. Accessibility, making it accessible to a wider audience. Geography is history, loss of concentration, interest. Yes, we keep getting the same answers. Offering innovative and appealing materials. Take too much time to planify. People attention short. Impersonal. Yes, these are a lot of challenges that we face every day, and that we have to look for solutions to improve them. No more long books. True. So we have 20 answers already. I don't know, maybe we can go to the next slide. So now we will be looking at the 3 pillars of our Pact for the Future. So first of all, focusing on people. What kind of activities, methodologies have you produced related to people? For example, in terms of social inclusion, participation, these thematics, interactive webinars, active participation, group discussions and problem solving, webinars and virtual meetings. We can see again what we got on in the first question, that webinars and Zoom meetings are the most popular activities. Group discussions and video conference, interviews. Okay, interesting. Webinars. Okay, we'll wait for a few more answers. Peer learning on migration. Moodle interactive social forums. Role play for generating empathy for migration peer learning. Experience sharing. Ask personal questions like, what is your favorite food, when we have a webinar on urban food systems, and then you display everyone's face at the beginning. Makes it personal and encourages participation. Okay, that's very interesting to get to have these meetings, online meetings more personal. group discussion, online learning, relatable case studies. Okay, we have a few answers already. Maybe we can go to the next pillar, which is planet. So what kind of methodologies, activities have you produced related to planet thematics, such as environment, climate, resilience, hybrid webinars? Okay. Let's see what else we have. If you have something different from the people thematics. Resilience and adaptation training, I guess online trainings, online course, webinars, case study discussion, online course explaining how to build resilience against climate change. Nature-based solution online games, disaster management learning, introduction to tools and guidance, webinars and fact sheets, training on climate action plan, climate mobility webinar, followed by in-personal dialogues and technical visits. So this is like a hybrid methodology, disaster prevention, educational games to explain to local government officials how environmental management works. Okay, so we're seeing two answers on regarding games this time. Water conservation interactive games again. Exchange of experiences between countries, like a peer learning activity. Okay, very interesting. I don't know if we're getting a few more answers. Otherwise, we can go to the last question, which is now on government. So what kind of methodologies, activities have you produced on government thematics? For example, local public policies and management. So we have here a mock on human resources. We have a strong component related to public policies, training for trainers with UCLG and the learning team, training for trainers again, developing needs-based courses, okay. TOTs, how to unpack Sendai framework for policy, developing disaster risk reduction action plans. Okay, so we can see a bit of some differences between the three thematics, people, planet, and government. This is interesting. So mocks, online courses again, partnering with cities to develop mini courses, mock on subnational public finance, let's see if you have anything else. Partnering with universities, these hadn't come up yet, and it's very, very interesting. Talent for governance and exchanges, online course on accessing climate finance for local governments. Okay, I think we're not getting any more answers. So if I'm not wrong, this was the last question. Okay, so thank you very much for sharing what you are doing in terms of methodologies, activities regarding e-learning. So now I think we'll have time to discuss a little bit more on what has come out. Fed, over to you again.
Thank you, Claudia. Wow, that was interesting. And now I'm more curious to know from you the methodologies and more detailed information about your process of adapting or creating e-learning tools for your publics. So I'm seeing a lot of different people here. I don't know who wants to be a volunteer or if I can like choose from you to start. I don't know. Anyone volunteer for the first? Like to tell your story in 3 minutes about the learning methodologies you developed.
I'll volunteer. It's Michelle Preen here from ICLEI Africa.
Great, Michelle. Thank you very much. Wow, we are curious about it. Please go ahead, Michelle.
Hi. So yeah, I mean, Sarah was very kind to say we are very advanced at ICLEI, but we may be advanced in you know, hosting webinars and in doing in-person courses, which we've been doing for the past few decades. But as most other organizations, and she also alluded to, with the pandemic, we had to very quickly move online. And often, I'm speaking now on behalf of ICLEI Africa, where I'm based, and often, you know, there's big challenges in terms of connectivity, and you know, we used to traveling to the countries and doing in-person workshops and in-person training. So it was quite a big shift for us. So yeah, we still consider ourselves learning in terms of the e-learning field. But I guess I mean, as I mentioned, we have been doing a lot of, all of our courses and our learning is generally project-based. So we will get funding for a project, work with a city on a needs basis in terms of the technical work that we do with them. And then very often there is some kind of training element involved or capacity building, where in the past we would have usually done it in person, had workshops, capacity building and training. And also always we've been doing a lot of webinars online. But we then had a course at the beginning of COVID through one of our projects, where we realized we had to do it online. And we figured, well, this is going to happen more and more in future. So we actually decided to build a learning platform. So we have a learning platform called Learn with ICLEI Africa. And my colleague Tia, who is responsible for that, is also on the call. So Tia, if you need to jump in, please do, but it would be great if you could just post the link in the chat for us. And yeah, we've got quite a range of types of courses. We haven't built a huge amount of courses yet. As I said, it depends on the needs basis and on the various projects that we have. But we generally have a range from facilitated closed trainings where we'll do for certain projects, self-guided online courses, which are very interactive. And we obviously have found the more interactive the courses, where they have videos and quizzes and sort of chats, are the most popular. We have some mini courses where, for example, we partnered with the city of Cape Town, who approached us about a smart learning guide that they developed. It was basically just a PDF. And they said to us, you know, maybe we can partner to turn this into a mini interactive course, which is what we did. So, and then obviously we also have just sort of tools and resources like PDF guidebooks and things like that. So yeah, it's been a learning journey for us. And we are still learning, we're still developing courses, and really excited to be part of this forum and to learn from all of you. And also very keen going forward to partner with organizations or, you know, on taking these courses forward. So yeah, I hope that was 3 minutes.
Great, Michelle, thank you. Wow, we will have to continue, but yes, as we see on the Mentimeter, the planet, the dimension, have less the products on that, and as you said, that we have to think how we can like to translate this all this PDF and all this material that we have into learning, online learning, that could be used by everyone. I saw that Boris, I don't know, raise hand, but I also saw that Gerald also salute everyone on the chat. Gerald has a great experience on the Hague Academy. I see that all guys here from the Deputación. So please go ahead. I don't know who Boris, do I don't know. Who wants to volunteer?
Thank you very much, Fernando, and greetings to everyone from Brussels. This time sunny, which is an exception, so we're happy to have a nice summer. So sending good vibes and summer to all of you from Brussels, from CMR Platforma. For those who don't know me, I'm Boris Tonauzer. I'm the advisor at Platforma and team coordinator for international partnerships at CMR, the European section of UCLG. Very quickly in 2 minutes. So actually for us was really the pandemic that had moved us a lot into being online, into delivering our activities online, which was probably a good move to the future, we believe. It's probably something to follow up. Just very recently, what we focused with UCLG Learning, and thanks for the great collaboration with Sara and Fernando and Maria Alejandra and all the colleagues who are amazing to work with. So we prepared a course on sustainable development goals in decentralized cooperation, which is available also on the UCLG Learning website. And we did the first testing. We did it with UCLG Africa. We did it with Narcociudades, with UCLG ASPAC. And now we are actually preparing very strongly to roll out this course for our audience, for Platforma members, for CMA members, which we will start towards the end of this year or the next year. It's been an amazing experience. The course is really tailor-made for those who are interested in this topic, and people very much appreciate the content of the course and very much appreciate also the approach and the help that we have from UCLG Learning in terms of tools, in terms of Mentimeter and whiteboards and online tools, which sometimes also take a bit of time to grasp, to comprehend, to learn how to use. So even as it's a learning process for us inside to be better teachers, to be better providers of learning and information. A second point very quickly, we developed together with our colleague Eva Baños a learning session on climate resilience and adaptation, which apparently was a great success. We do aim this also towards the HLPF, towards the COP27 that will be coming later this year. What was very interesting is that we advertised this course as really tailor-made for our audience, for European local regional governments, for their purposes, also based on examples, sharing examples of European cases, European case studies. Interestingly enough, we had huge interest for this course from all over the world. It was amazing. We planned a little training session for 20, 25 people. In the end, we have between 80 and 100 participants, depending on the given moment. So this is also an indication that, first of all, the topic is very relevant for everyone at the local level. Climate is looming about us. Unless we do something, it's not going to be fine. But the second take-home message is that we have the potential to share our experience, to share our knowledge, not only to our audience, but all over, with everybody, with the whole learning community, with the whole municipal movement community. So this is a great, let's say, motivation for us to go forward, and especially to focus on learning a bit more than previously. Having said that, we still need to build our own internal capacities. We don't have a dedicated learning platform. We have some ideas about priorities and topics. We don't really have a strategic learning agenda for CMA. So this is probably something to work on together. But also in the first steps, it's sometimes very difficult to consolidate in one page or one document. What are those different learning opportunities that exist within our organization, within our membership and constituencies, but also within our partners and within UCLG. So this for us would be sort of the ways to focus in the future to actually consolidate a learning agenda and see strategically where we have strong points, where we have weak points, and addressing them in partnership with everybody.
Thank you very much, Boris. And you see how exciting the Learning Forum is. You were talking about the climate change and the need of doing that. Michelle also, it's great that she's here, and we can think of how to integrate different offers. And I see that Albert and Xavier are also here. They could think of how the methodologies can be used, how we adapt methodologically. So, but Gerald, please go ahead and tell us about the experience of the Hague Academy. And you have a great experience on that too. Please go ahead and please focus on the methodologies. And if you can do it in 3 minutes, I appreciate it. Thank you. I think you're muted, Gerald.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. And just as Boris has pointed out, indeed, COVID for us was one of the triggers why we needed to really shift to online methodologies. And it's not like we had not been thinking about this before. In fact, we were already in contact with an Australian organization that is so famous with online learning. And then COVID came, so the momentum was right on spot. And the Hague Academy, you know, our mission has always been to strengthen democratic local governance worldwide. And this is based on our core belief that developing and sustainable and good democratic local governance must be supported with leaders who have skills and who can demonstrate a responsibility and are responsive to citizen needs. So the Hague Academy training is based on that core belief that local governments are responsible for that. But then COVID came, and we needed to really continue with our mandate, and that's where the e-learning methodologies came in, because we discovered very quickly that indeed structures, systems, and procedures are primarily effective in a predictable world. But then when the world is very unpredictable, when there is uncertainty with a lot of unforeseens, then you need to innovate and come up with new methods. So we have developed almost 15 Moodle interactive sessions and courses, which are open courses at the Hague Academy. And of course, we have two types of trainings, open courses, but we also have tailor-made trainings, which then the participants, they don't come to the Hague Academy in The Hague, but we actually go to different countries to offer the trainings there, mostly face-to-face, which was, of course, pretty much impossible during the COVID pandemic because of all the restrictions. So then we got fully into online mode, and that is where we encountered all the challenges that people have highlighted, from working with the local government representatives in contexts which have very minimal ICT infrastructures, to people who have different understanding of all these themes that we talk about in The Hague, and also just allowing people to do self-paced learning processes, which again became a problem because asynchronous method of learning has its own challenges. It's not like having a face-to-face where then you have people who you can engage in interactive discussions, which is again the principal approach to the Hague Academy trainings: interactive, participatory, and engaging. But then when you shift to online Moodle articulate software method, then you discover that that becomes a challenge by itself. But by and large, we have been able to organize a lot of webinars to try to give targeted support to participants who are coming from different contexts, who are struggling with being able to what I would call hack our Moodle environment. So we identify a few of those participants, and then we reach out to them through Zoom meetings, through all sort of online platforms, in order for us to be able to give them support. And of course, we have worked with experts from all over the world. The Hague Academy has over 350 experts worldwide. And of course, a lot of these experts have interacted with different modes of delivery of content online, and they were able to incorporate most of these tools within the more than 15 online courses that we have. And one of the things that we have learned through this interactive online learning methods is that, 90% or even more of our participants from the Hague Academy are usually scholarship funded. And the reason why that this has been very successful is because the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been using the Hague Academy courses, and of course many other institutions, to empower the local governments in order to deliver their mandates to the communities. But then one of the key requirement for the funding through the NUFIC scholarships and of course MSP scholarships that we have for our participants is that they come to the Netherlands so that they can learn from the Dutch municipalities. We call it the Dutch experience. But then you can imagine, once we shifted to Moodle environment, the Dutch experience became very problematic because then, of course, we had to shoot the places we take them for study visits in different municipalities, and we have 345 municipalities in the Netherlands. So we made what is called virtual tours, and then we would share them through Moodle. But then at the end of the day, you see the participants giving their comments and saying, yeah, you have done a fantastic job here, but it's not the real deal. We still want to visit that municipality in the Netherlands and see how things work when you think about inclusive service delivery, when you think about decentralization, how the Dutch municipalities localize the SDGs. We still want to experience that. So that has been a major critique of the online environment that we have created for the over 15 courses that we have. But I have to, as I conclude, I have to be honest, we have seen the merits of having these online methodologies in terms of delivering the same content to empower local governments. And yet we have seen in equal measures the challenges of operating online. And the question going forward is how can we actually incorporate post-COVID these two modalities, because we have seen they can be complementary, and yet on the other hand, we appreciate the need and the concern of our participants who would rather come to The Hague and learn from the Dutch experiences, which was the original way of working within the Hague Academy.
Thank you very much, Gerald. It was very interesting. And well, we have a problem here. We have 2 minutes to talk about learning methodology. So and we have three hands. So I would propose that Pierre and Paula, which are on the same MOOC, I would propose to you to give like a 1 minute comment on how to how to work together with different partners, and how was the methodology that you create, and then 1 minute for Hendra to talk about their new platform, and then we continue talking on the second round. Okay, can we do that? I don't know if Pierre or Paula, who from you want to talk, or 30 seconds each one.
Please go ahead, Paula. I was going to make a comment a little bit more removed from that.
Okay, but we can continue on the next round. Pierre, please go ahead, Paula.
Okay, so hello, it's Paula from the UCLG Committee on Local Economic and Social Development and FAMSI as well. And I will just mention that as other colleagues have already said, for us, training and capacity building activities have become increasingly more important. We count on an online Moodle platform called Aula Solidaria, which we have worked on from FAMSI for some years ago, but obviously now it has certainly become even more relevant. And as Fernando said, we developed last year a MOOC on local economic development for cohesive territories. And that would be one of the main points I would outline, that is working with some other colleagues and bringing new materials and more enriching tools to our MOOC. We had already developed a guided course on this thematic, but we had the chance to enrich our materials and the whole content with colleagues from ILO. And I would just say that one of the tools we think are more relevant or have had better impact was the videos that we have developed together with our members from the committee that could illustrate the content on the course and give the better impression or the better idea to the people taking this course with the basis on the theoretical content, and let them apply the contents learned just immediately from the course. I'll leave Pierre if he wants to add anything. Thanks.
Great. So Paula, thank you very much. I don't know if Pierre and Hendra, don't know if you all also can comment more, because I think what you're gonna say, I believe it's very linked to our next question about Daejeon. You're gonna talk about your platform of UCLG ASPAC, and I believe we can link that to Daejeon and how we can use and promote and integrate these different activities that we are discussing now. And for the chat, I would propose, before passing to Sarah, would propose to Xavier, Albert, but the others also to comment on this challenge that everyone has mentioned about how to think now of this future of the e-learning, that how to integrate the online learning with the on-site learning and or hybrid methodologies, how we could think of different methodologies and tools for that. If you want to share this also on chat, we can continue on chat, and then after with Sarah and beyond. Please. So Hendra, I will pass to Sarah and we continue with her. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, and we continue the chat. Sarah, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Fernando. And yeah, sure, as you say, we will give you the floor. I just add another layer now to the discussion, which is our Congress and the Learning Forum we plan there. I hope you can see the screen. And I just want to recall a little bit the sense of this session. Now we go with you now to the Congress. Not only the Congress as a momentum, as an event, but also as a way to look better how to move forward. So I think many of you, some challenges raise, also ideas for partnership. And we are very happy that this comes up, and we just because it will enrich the pack to the Congress. No, so if we can say, okay, we will do it. It's not necessarily that we have to show everything in the Congress ready. Just to on the vision for learning from our Secretary General, I just recall the points she mentioned, and they are very related to our overall objective as UCLG. So the Learning Forum is not only important because of the methodology, but because of its intrinsic capacity to foster a clear agenda. So that's what we have seen. Learning is very practical, evidence-based, and sometimes our agenda, now we have the Pact for the Future. You all know the keywords: care, planet. So we make with learning a lot of practical contribution for our leaders and also for all our membership. It's therefore to be seen as a vehicle that plays a transformative role in creating and sustaining an agenda for action. The Daejeon Learning Forum must therefore align learning with the content of the Pact for the Future. The learning agenda needs to be put at the service of the political agenda. So here again, that's also the unique opportunity UCLG has, that we have not only practitioners, but leaders who enable, who ask, who delegate their practitioners to connect mainly the international agenda the UCLG brings or Metropolis brings. So we will hear more on this. The new narrative must be crafted around sustainable partnership. So the partnership in learning is particular. Many of you do offer a lot of courses, systems, and we need to see how we can really promote each other, help each other, because there is so much to do that the worst thing would be that we are in competition. So that's what we have to reflect, how we best do it. Then the learning team builds on the secretariat, on the vision on that is given by our Secretary General. And we note that we are not just going to Daejeon. We are now with the stock taking. We try that we really get into the role you want us to play also, no? If it's facilitation, looking at what everybody is doing, getting a little bit the overview, because many of you told us, wow, UCLG is very great. I didn't know about this, about that. So is this a function we should enhance? We must create a space to reflect, inform, inspire, and think out of the box, and how we think strategically and contribute to the political activities and the pact for the future. We must reach all the local and regional government interested, those who manage service in the territories. So this, of course, a virtual era is enforcing. Even people are left aside, but what we have seen is that many practitioners had never the chance to travel to meetings, to learnings. They don't have the opportunity. They come from smaller intermediary cities and without any budget for learning, in particular on this. So members and particular partners do not only add, but some. We are creating a movement that learns and delivers. So of course, that's if we can combine, for example, what Michelle was saying or what Gerald was saying, two different angles. But of course, looking at this together, it makes a lot of power for somebody who who is sitting at a city and thinks, okay, should I really invest a little bit more in learning of my teams? And accept this is an important window to help to develop a strategic learning agenda. And here, when we look into Daejeon, and we would like you to engage really a lot in Daejeon, even not everybody can come, but we need you to be engaged and to help that this learning forum really takes the shape that's useful for everybody. So there we have an opening plenary, then we have a high-level interactive panel discussion. This was a suggestion of Najat in our last session, where we also have a little bit the demand of leaders. Maybe Hendra, you can say something on this now. Then we think in a learning marketplace, so in a way of speed dating. This will be the main timing for the Learning Forum that has 5 hours, but we hope to dedicate a lot to your initiatives. And we saw this in the retreat session, for example, of Metropolis. Helen was organizing a very nice marketplace there. So maybe we copy this methodology. Then we have mini masterclass sessions running like the art of facilitation, the value of knowledge management. So there we have to look on what are the skills you really are most interested in, and who could be then helping to build this skill. No, you have seen in the retreat, sometimes we dedicated speaking out loud for our leaders. We also we have in the video, you can see there's a lot of learning and skill we can address. And finally, the co-creation workshop to identify elevators of learning. So we have a lot of focal points. All the regional sections have really created focal points. And what Boris was saying is honey in my ears, because you have, of course, our sections, they really invest in learning. They see that it's important. And that's, of course, makes the movement very big. And we need to see how this can then also be a supportive structure to each other. And how does this work? Let us know if we miss something. This could be the space. If we imagine Daejeon, we have a big space where 200 people can easily fill this room. And here we could say we can have some marketplaces, as you can see in the right. We can have platforms, we can have a corner for games, we can have an exchange set up of debate, whatever you think is valuable and wherever you see yourself in. So please, now maybe we can, you can help us to think together towards Daejeon. So not only what you are doing, but how this could be connected to Daejeon. And Hendra, I'm very happy that you are with us here. You are one of the focal points. So the learning energy in Asia. You also prepare a lot for Daejeon, and you do a lot on e-learning. So where do you see this connection?
Thank you so much, Sarah, for the opportunity to speak in here. So I'm glad to see you all here. Good evening from Jakarta. I'd like to use this opportunity to try to promote our efforts in terms of e-learning creations in Asia Pacific. So we're currently developing a e-learning platform and aiming at providing a knowledge-based online platform that could be accessed by the public audience, especially the local governments and our members in Asia Pacific. So this will facilitate the knowledge enhanced activities in terms of if they cannot personally attend the trainings, offline training especially, they could access the e-learning. So I think this would be great if it could be brought to the learning sessions in Daejeon to discuss with the delegates and to see what the response to the e-learning sessions, because especially in my region, I think e-learning is not very popular enough. We still need to promote the e-learning to be able to be familiarized the learning platform, especially how to access the online training, etc. Because most of local governments, our key partners here, always ask for the offline training because they think that the offline training is more personal and they can interact each other. But online training has been recently popular because of the pandemic, but it's not really coming from the roots. So I think this is something that need to be discussed during the Congress, and I would like to see how the local government's response to our effort on e-learning, and we can bring the debate in the learning sessions, or I mean, like Sarah said, that there are some platforms that are like high panels, and also in the learning market. So we can always ask them to define what they need on the learning e-learning platform, especially because of course it's the growing interest is there, and but we still need to find out how or what the right methodologies, the right platforms that meets the needs of the local governments. So the debate is really important for us to find the right way to provide the e-learning, especially in the current situation where pandemic is not over, and in Asia Pacific is really in need of capacity building, etc. So I think e-learning is one of prominent way outs, and this is something that we need to promote.
Yeah, thank you very much, and that's very good to see, because of course many of your local leaders are coming to Daejeon, no, because you bring a very huge delegation. ASPAC has its executive bureau, and maybe then to give them the attention. Why are you so critical to e-learning, no? To discuss it a little bit and to find a better angle to enter, because I think many of our partners, for example, the Den Haag Academy, also said it's sometimes difficult that people get motivated. They don't know how to who to select. No, it feels too far away from the local leaders just to send a practitioner and to invest funding or whatever. No, a very good point, Sendai, and we will take it up. I think ASPAC will be very present. There are also some there's also some chat. Paloma, one of our really great practitioners, she did one of our first brilliant online courses, is asking about the connection with the COP, HLPF, and of course our own agenda. No, Paloma, if you want to say something to explain this suggestion, and then we would go to Pierre.
Thank you, Sarah, for giving me the floor. It was just a very small question because the previous debate was cut short and Boris answered already. And so I think what's interesting and what I got from Boris's answer is that in the MOOC on local finances that we created together with Alba and Javi that are here as well, but we made an effort to make the MOOC timeless in the sense that we hoped it can be used for a few years, that it doesn't have like a end date. But I also think that it's important to try to connect maybe our learning methodologies and sessions to specific events so that we gain momentum and we reach out to more participants. And that's what I got from Boris's answer. So I think it's good to learn from this, and maybe Daejeon will be the next big meeting point to showcase all of these learning material that has been developed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And also well noted, I think this is in the line of the mandate Emilia sees for us when she says a political agenda. It's very much related, no, to the events and to the agenda that is set up by the United Nations. Pierre, do you want to say something? And then I've also the hand raised of Javier. Javier, he's one of our consultants and in e-learning, and Boris. Pierre?
So shall I start? Yeah. I think as I'm getting old, I remember what we used to do before e-learning. And one thing which was very important is a decentralized aspect of learning, so that as we are gaining momentum with new technologies and so on, there is a tendency to have a few places very focalized on proposing new materials instead of creating a dynamic of co-creation of learning processes. And I think that's totally possible to do, is that instead of having one group taking the initiative, elaborating an e-learning process, which is in fact a set of collaboration. And as if one takes the initiative, then the next initiative is taken up by another city or by another group. That was when we were doing city-to-city cooperation. We had this type of system, is that once there was a host, and then we were looking for the second host after that. So would that be possible to have it the same type of process and not going into centralization of both initiative and creation, but having this type of stimulations that if one can offer, then could the offer take the lead, and then have the support, the technical and the pedagogical support for those who are more capable of offering that, while at the same time others would have the leadership on initiatives. That's one thing. The second thing I think we have to be careful, which we're also coming back, is everything tends to become abstract in the sense that we are missing the informal interaction, of course. That's possible to recreate. I mean, you can open a meeting with a sort of friendly space where, everybody greeting each other and having informal chat with informal chats. I mean, that's a possibility, and create a little bit bonding around between participants. And that's, I think, something which we need to learn, still continue learning how to do, so that it doesn't become only something which goes through role play or expose or whatever type of things like that. But the more difficult, and I think we have to think about that, is what was happening through the field visits. Is that when you were bringing people to a place, they didn't know the place, they wanted to learn about the experience of one place and so on. So can we could we be imaginative enough to recreate that type of connection to local places, and not being always people behind a screen or in front of a screen with basically offices which looks the same wherever we go. We don't hear the birds, we don't see we don't have our feet in the muds and that type of thing. And that is probably something which is still doable, you know, small videos, small wandering in places, and that type of thing. I mean, and not getting too much into abstract modalities.
Yeah, but it's clear. I think your message is clear, and we have several challenges here. First is when we look on learning, I think maybe Helene could make a point. She's also raising her hand or the thumb, I don't know. But for example, we raise a lot of practices. Yeah. Also, if we look in what Paula just said, the videos where you see the practice, even it's not in the mat and you don't have the birds, but you see the video and you understand local economic development in a nutshell. So these are, of course, pieces which probably are much more successful we thought in when we started. But then we have usually a big material, and the UN agencies, they are even worse than us, big reports that all want to be didactically interesting. Here, maybe Xavier, who has helped us to simplify extremely the SDG agenda. Then how do you bring this into a fun piece? No? So we have, that's another challenge. So the practice, into which practice we take, do we do first the concept or first the practice? So there we always, with learning, we see we have all the steps, and it's every time it's different. And the other is what kind of methodology to use so that the visitor of the course or the practitioner gets maximum out of it. So here we have two hands. Maybe you can take a little bit up on this, Boris and Xavier. And I think Helene, you let me know if it is a hand or a thumb.
Thank you very much. I'd really come back to what you said, Sarah, and to the question by Paloma, is that we also try to provide learning opportunities for a purpose. So if we speak to our constituency, to our members about the need for climate action, about need for resilience, about the need to include SDGs in their work, we do frame it also in the policy agenda. So we speak about the 2030 agenda, we speak about the Paris Convention. So this is how to also mobilize people to understand the need for learning and why we're doing it. We're not doing local finance because local finance sorry, has always been important and will always be important, but probably there is a moment also in the policy development or in the context where we say, now we need to know more. Now people need to know more about these topics. Otherwise, they would never be localized. Otherwise, they would never trickle down to the very low levels in terms of policy ideas, priorities. So I think this is a kind of approach which we have chosen for these modules. But also we do recognize the limitations of online learning. It's really something that are elements, as I think Pierre just said, irreplaceable in terms of having networking, connections, getting to know people personally. Again, the problem with online learning is limited interaction between participants. There's a lot of top-down, sometimes bottom-up, but limited horizontal interactions. Even if you do discussions, even if you do games, let's be realistic. You have 2-3 people who are interested, who are involved, and you have 60-70% of the people who rather listen, who rather watch, rather than engage. Which also seems to be a problem. And the third point I wanted to raise is really
to Daejeon, I hope.
Yeah, probably in a physical training, it's much easier to actually have people spend a day or spend a day and a half in learning. When we do online, everybody says 1 day is too much, 2 half days is too much, 1 half days is too much. Yes. I don't have that much time. This is always a balance between the need. But I like the back to Daejeon. The idea of the master classes is something that reminded me of what we already do within CMR, a learning program within the secretariat actually of the association. And we have actually we invite colleagues to provide short explanations, short learning sessions. We do it about once in 3 weeks, once in 4 weeks, and it's really 45 minutes altogether with presentation, with questions, with answers, with background documents, with a small PowerPoint. So we have the opportunity to actually tap the knowledge of all the colleagues, and they can share it with their colleagues within the, let's say, within the office, within CMR. So probably this really short, to the point, focused, as it called, master classes on something is probably also something that is more aligned with the need for today to have short events, to have short training, to focus, to have practical results in a short time, rather than having a long session or having actually a course over the weeks or over the months.
Yeah.
Which is traditional, but it's more complicated.
No, please also let us know. I mean, we thought more in skills sessions, these master classes, but in order not to say here we have so much agenda. But in the space, when you can see, we have these several spaces, a platform space, a market space, and of course the gaming space. And the master classes are more this on one point, but not on one agenda point, because the Congress will be very extensive on the different angles of the agenda, but more on the skills. So let us know. And maybe Xavier, if you see the Congress now, I mean, the question here is not when we look at the Congress, as Hendra says, there we have people on site who will say, okay, this e-learning, how can we make e-learning there visible in a big event with many people running from one room to the next? Because we cannot put 50 computers on the site. Or what would you suggest?
No, that would be terrible to put computers so that people can look at the computer in the Congress. No, I would give, despite I have a e-learning company, I would never suggest that. Actually, based on what we've been discussing, I just wanted to mention a couple of things, and also taking on the comment that Paloma was saying on the durability of the contents. But for SARS, what we do at Homework, it's online courses for universities, institutions like UCLG or United Nations and so on. And what we tend to envision when we design any course or content is that it has huge durability, but because more and more what we expect is that these contents will be used to enhance another more rich pedagogical experience, and more hybrid, in which this video, we tend to do a lot of video, for example, or exercises and other resources. But these are the first level of knowledge transfer for a huge community. But e-learning should be only this. I mean, it's a good way to disseminate massively a content, but to go deeper, we shouldn't expect to go deeper through asynchronous e-learning. Even myself, I don't purely believe in that. We need to use it as a tool that enhances more compelling and comprehensive educational experiences, in which we can at least meet this way, and you have a room in which you can meet somebody and see the face of somebody in movement. I mean, for mobility issues and so on, I'm very in for not going to places to have classes and so on. But I think e-learning should be envisioned in the next decade as a tool in education, not an option, but just a tool and a resource that we include in the whole learning experience of any of us anyway. And that's
very good point. No, very good point. And I think this is brings it also to back to it has a place, no? And of course, we see that many of the participants, as I said, we have now 1,500 connected to our Learning with UCLG, and for them it's always much more attractive to come into sessions, to play with us, to be connected in smaller scale sessions. But it's still the ideal is mix everything. no? So that you also have in person and field visit and all what is coming together. Maybe Helene from Metropolis, she also has a huge experience in collecting practices virtually. And how do you see, Helene, in the Congress, for example, when we look at the Learning Forum in this time, where would you put the note, your note to engage with the group? What is your expectation? Hélène?
Oui, bonjour Sarah, merci de me donner la parole. Je vais parler en français étant donné que nous avons des interprètes.
C'est parfait.
Merveilleux. Écoutez, par rapport à Métropolis, c'est vrai que c'est pas tout à fait défini si nous allons participer au congrès de Daejeon. Nous le souhaitons vivement. Par rapport à nos attentes, c'est vrai que par rapport à nos membres, nous sentons qu'il y a une espèce de lassitude par rapport à tout ce qui est en ligne. Donc, comme le mentionnait Pierre, je pense qu'une petite visite de terrain, par exemple, ce serait très intéressant. Ça sortirait les gens aussi des salles. Et à mon avis, ce serait une des solutions par rapport à nous. Écoutez, notre nouveau secrétaire général est tout à fait disposé à offrir des masterclass sur la gouvernance métropolitaine, donc ce serait effectivement une option. Nous avons aussi une autre option avec nos collègues de Seoul Human Resources Development Center, qui est le centre de formation de Métropolis, donc d'organiser une session hybride, donc en ligne et en présentiel, avec des élèves qui auront participé à notre formation Resilient City. Donc bon, voilà, nous avons plusieurs options par rapport au marketplace que vous mentionnez auparavant. C'est vrai que nous avions utilisé ce format lors d'une réflexion stratégique et c'est un format qui est très sympa, très dynamique, parce que c'est vrai que les gens offrent leurs produits, c'est-à-dire leur formation, et se présentent. Et ce n'est pas un format statique, donc je pense que ça pourrait marcher parfaitement dans le cadre de Daejeon. Donc voilà, plus ou moins. Merci Sarah.
No, thank you very much, Hélène. And I think I hope you will be with us, because with Metropolis, for example, one point also to see in our regional sections, we have now everywhere academies or platforms. And we have, as Boris says, in CMR, we also will observe probably. And how do we connect all this? Is it a point of algorithm only that we can say, okay, everything is connected? Or do we need to do activities? For example, on the peer learning, you say one of the activities, our colleague Jung Yoon, she has reported a practice to the Use platform, which is a platform which is done by Metropolis. And this is about a mental health bus that Daejeon is a very original practice. So maybe we can see if we can take up your idea and look into this kind of peer visits, which often fall a little bit back, because the agenda is very driven by, I would like to say this, I would like to give the master class. And then if you ask your Secretary General, what is better? Do we go to the bus or do we go to the master class? No, probably his choice will be, because this is, of course, in our Congress, one reason to be is to deliver, to show, to promote. And maybe, please, we can use the last parts, last 5 minutes, to give a little bit more ideas. I don't know if anybody else of our section or partners, those who have been speaking or not, would like to say something. So regarding the Congress, for example, I see Patricia is here from Buenos Aires. You think to do something in the Congress, and for you, what is the opportunity the Congress is offering?
Hola, buenos días. Les pido mil disculpas no estar con cámara. Estamos con una mala conexión y probablemente no me escucharían. Sí, bueno, hemos tenido excelente experiencia y trabajo con el equipo de e-learning. Bueno, no quiero ser reiterativa de todo lo que se ha dicho, pero sin duda destacaría que después de por ahí 1 año y medio de ya venir trabajando en pandemia, es difícil por ahí desde cada una de nuestras ciudades pensar en nuevos recursos y estrategias para sumar e incentivar la participación, y creo que en eso ha sido fundamental las herramientas que nos ha facilitado, ¿no?, el equipo, y de alguna manera, bueno, nosotros integrando junto con Dorban la Comisión de Planificación Urbana Estratégica, estamos pensando, hemos venido trabajando para potenciar esas experiencias que han sido regionales en algún momento, que hemos destinado a América Latina, que se han hecho a distintas escalas. Podés potenciar esto en el Congreso, es en esa línea que venimos trabajando. Va a ser un gusto poder sumar a más ciudades y partners a esas actividades. Así que bueno, es estar, es acompañar. Creemos que hemos aprendido todos mucho en este tiempo, tanto de los desafíos y la nueva etapa en la que estamos, en la que la presencialidad a la que hemos vuelto, también hay que darle más, ahora es como al revés, digamos, necesitamos potenciar la participación, porque también muchos, aunque sintieran que, bueno, que era limitado de algún modo, se han habituado a este recurso. Entonces, bueno, me parece que es una buena idea, aunque sé que para algunos es difícil, incluso para nosotros por distancia, acercarnos, desde este encuentro cada vez incentivar más el trabajo, si no puede ser totalmente presencial, híbrido, y sumando nuevos recursos de los que se han planteado en este espacio. Así que bueno, como siempre, agradeciendo y disfrutando de este espacio de colaboración.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Patricia. And I think that's a very important message, that many cities are not any longer wanting to send people necessarily so far, no? Because now with hybrid and this learning methodology, many networks are adopting, so it is to stay. Here we have one last note from Albert, I think. Albert is exactly the mind behind a lot of the games you all like so much, and the games that overcome this distance we can experience in the virtual room. Albert, 30 seconds, and then we would like to close the meeting.
Perfecto, seré muy breve. No, simplemente decir esto un poco, que la frontera entre lo que es e-learning y lo que es presencial, yo creo que se tiene que romper, y se tiene que entender que tenemos que generar itinerarios de aprendizaje, y que lo importante son los objetivos que tenemos y lo que queremos transmitir. A partir de ahí, ver a quién van dirigidos y entender el e-learning, los juegos y todos los recursos pedagógicos que estamos creando como unos recursos que se pueden montar para generar itinerarios diferentes, y que en parte lo que es importante es poder combinar pues esta parte de hago un trabajo previo, ese trabajo asincrónico, llego, nos encontramos, porque es cierto que la presencialidad es muy difícil en muchos todo el tema de interacción personal genera mucho. Igual, entendiendo que el mundo es muy grande y que cada vez el reto de moverse es mayor, pues intentar generar espacios de participación física pues no sé, por continentes, por regiones o cosas así. Pero yo creo que la combinación de distintos formatos y encuentros es un poco la clave, y ver un poco el objetivo que tienes pedagógico, y a partir de ahí articular itinerarios.
Thank you very, very much, Albert. And with this here, we come to an end. You are right. We will have to use our learning forum as one other momentum, another point, but it is not, of course, an end in itself. it is for the event in Daejeon also is a means towards more joint work, towards more effective opportunity of learning, of connecting. We really look very much forward to work more with our partners. With ICLEI, not only with ICLEI Africa, also with ICLEI Brazil, on the resilience. We look forward to work more also on the climate agenda. You just see when Boris said it is one of the big agendas where we have a lot of demand, and we have not any longer to say this is you, let's jointly look what can we best do together and use of course our Daejeon forum. I think, as you say, not everybody can travel. Those who travel need to come home with new contacts, not only new cities as it was before, but now it's more new contact to people who work likewise and who join the same objective. And that's what we hope the Learning Forum will offer, so that all of those who feel sometimes alone in organizing, you push a big thing, a big agenda, and you know you are not the only one, and working together is increasing opportunities. So thank you very, very much for coming, all of you, and hopefully you will be in touch. You will be coming. We will send you also a questionnaire on a little bit evaluating our stock taking, which is now ending, and we hope that we count on you in Daejeon or connected to Daejeon. So thank you so much to support our agenda in this way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Olga. Thank you. Thank you for coming.